Well, guys, we are now officially in the first holiday shopping season of the Nintendo Switch 2's life, and it's usually around this time that you're going to see a spike in console sales and game sales because a lot of people are buying these as presents for the upcoming holidays like Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. And so a lot of people are going to be asking for the brand new Nintendo system because they want that to be their present in all of the games. And I've seen some discussion about people comparing like the holiday lineup that Nintendo has going into this year with the Nintendo Switch 2 compared to like when the original Switch came out and how it was like, and some people saying that this year's isn't as good or it's not that good for a year one. So I figured it would be kind of fun to just compare a little bit about the games that we had and how I feel about everything and what I feel like it's going to be with the Nintendo Switch 2. Now real quick before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Elestrals. If you watch my videos, you probably enjoy stuff like Pokemon, Zelda, and RPGs. Well, now there's an incredible game in development that features monster catching, RPG exploration, and bullet hell boss battles all into one epic adventure. Elestrals Awaken is a 2.5D pixel art monster catching RPG for PC and Nintendo Switch that's set in a world inspired by Greek mythology. It's a game where you can bond with elemental spirits, challenge divines, and explore titan temples packed with puzzles and secrets. There's some really cool gameplay mechanics like spirit points and ascending Elestrals into new forms. Right now, Elestrals Awaken is having their Kickstarter campaign until November 7th, and you can back it with some amazing rewards. From obtaining alpha and beta access, exclusive in-game unlocks and add-ons, and even becoming an NPC or caster for the game itself. This is your one chance to be involved in this very promising passion project with massive potential. Feel free to check out more about Elestrals Awaken and back their Kickstarter from the link in the description below, and thank you so much again to Elestrals for sponsoring the video. Alright, so looking at the rest of 2025, Nintendo really has three big releases that are left, and the first one is Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which is a warrior-style Zelda game that's going to be a prequel to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, very similar to what they did with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which was supposed to be a sequel to Breath of the Wild and released in 2020. Now, Age of Calamity did have some mixed opinions with how the game wasn't really like a true prequel to Breath of the Wild, kind of like what was marketed, but it more so ended up being like a branched alternate timeline where events unfolded differently and not really the stuff that actually leads into Breath of the Wild. But with the marketing of this game, they are trying to say that this is going to be a canonical story that's actually going to lead into Tears of the Kingdom. I'm still going to have my skepticism about it, but I know that was something that people didn't like when they did it the first time. But even with all of this, as of January 2022, Age of Calamity did sell over 4 million copies, which to Nintendo was a pretty big success, so a lot of people are wondering now if Age of Imprisonment is going to be doing similar numbers. Obviously, this is going to be now an exclusive for a system that is still very brand new, as when the Nintendo Switch version came out with Age of Calamity, the Switch was already 3 years old, and a lot of people already had the system, and that number was higher compared to the people that have the Switch 2. What is easily the game that Nintendo is pushing for the most this holiday season though is the brand new Kirby Air Riders game, which just had its second Nintendo Direct a few days ago, and somehow Sakurai was still able to talk for another hour about all of the stuff that they still had left to share for this game. And yeah, this game is full of content. There's so many customization options, so many different modes, so many different unlocks, so many different things to do. And I think it's because of that Nintendo really kind of wants to push for this game to really be like the big shining thing that's going to be there for this holiday season. So it is going to be interesting to see, especially with like Mario Kart having already released this year too, how many people are going to be very interested in picking up this game. But this definitely seems to be the one that Nintendo really is kind of pushing for. It's coming out the week before Thanksgiving, which is usually like their big holiday time slot that they always kind of save for their biggest release, and that's definitely what this is looking to be for this year. And of course, the final big release from Nintendo in 2025 is going to be Metroid Prime 4, a game that was announced the year the Nintendo Switch originally came out in 2017, finally coming out 8 years later after having to go through a major development rehaul and everything else. But yeah, it is going to be coming out this year, and it is also going to have a special Nintendo Switch 2 edition, which is going to have better graphics and performance. But of course, someone who's going to be getting a Nintendo Switch 2 this holiday season isn't just going to be exclusively focusing on those 3 games that have yet to come out, but also the entire catalog of games that have come out for the Switch 2 and also the Switch 1 from Nintendo this year. And so looking at that, we had Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, which came out very early into the year in like March. And so this was a massive game. I played through this. I still had so much to do because I didn't even do like all of the quests and everything, but this was a massive game that I had with so much to explore and so many different things to do. So that was already a huge game that I had to play, also with a brand new epilogue story and all of that. We of course had Mario Kart World, which was the Nintendo Switch 2 launch title. Still a game that's really fun too. Lots of cool stuff that you can do inside of that game. Lots of characters and unlocks and stuff too. We had Donkey Kong Bonanza, which was really like the big 3D platformer from Nintendo as the Nintendo Switch 2's launch, and we can see here that this game was also a lot of fun too. It got really good reviews. A lot of people were very happy with the ending and like all the crazy stuff that goes down there. I was very satisfied with the game too, so that is of course going to be another big game that people are going to be talking about. And while we didn't have a brand new 3D Mario game this year, we still got the re-release of Super Mario Galaxy 1+2, which are enhanced for the Nintendo Switch 2, putting them in 4K. But then we also had Pokemon Legends ZA, which just came out a few days ago, and that game is also getting an extremely high amount of sales. A lot of people are loving that game too, so that also has a Switch 2 edition with better graphics and performance, and a lot of people are getting that game on the Switch 2. And now comparing it with the holiday season for the original Switch back in 2017 is actually kind of funny because I feel like it is kind of similar, where that also had 3 games that were upcoming, kind of like what we have right now. And the first game was Fire Emblem Warriors, which was also a Warriors game just like Age of Imprisonment, but it wasn't really like a prequel to anything. That was more so just like a fan service Fire Emblem game where a bunch of characters from Fire Emblem games all got together and stuff, and so that was kind of cool as well. Also a Koei Tecmo Warriors game. And then we had the big release, which was of course Super Mario Odyssey, a brand new 3D Mario adventure that returned to having like that open zone kind of style where you had like a sandboxy world to explore and it wasn't linear like 3D Land and 3D World, so a lot of people really loved that. And then at the very end of the year, at the very start of December, we had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was a massive RPG adventure with a ton of content, lots of stuff to do in that game for hours, and just a beautiful story, lots of worlds and things to explore. So that was also a very big, massive game to have at the end of the year. And I feel like that's also kind of very similar to what they're doing, where you have the warrior style game with Zelda Age of Imprisonment, and then you have like the big game that they're doing with like Mario Odyssey, and in this case it's going to be Kirby Air Riders. And then you have like that game that's not super popular because Metroid isn't really like super popular to where it's going to be getting like millions and millions of sales, but it is also a very massive game that a lot of people are really going to like who are fans of it, like what happened with Xenoblade 2. And then looking back at the Nintendo Switch catalog for 2017, we had Breath of the Wild, which came out of course at the Nintendo Switch's launch. We had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, we had ARMS, we had Splatoon 2, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and Pokken Tournament. And so here's really the holiday lineups as well as the games that released this year side by side with the original Switch and the Switch 2, and you can really kind of compare and see which one you prefer. Do you like the original Switch's lineup more, or do you think that the Switch 2's is a little bit better? Honestly, I actually think that I prefer the Switch 2's a little bit more, but I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about it. But with that, there you go guys, that is pretty much everything there is about the holiday lineup for the Nintendo Switch 2 and the comparison to the Switch 1s. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm definitely gonna have some more videos talking about Nintendo, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Comment down below and let me know what you think about all of this. Do you prefer the Switch 2's holiday lineup, or do you like the Switch 1's more? How do you feel about everything? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about it, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.